Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Huge show tonight. Happy Sunday to all of you guys. Michigan, the hammer is fallen, and we're going to break down the biggest story, the biggest cheating scandal in the history of sports. And Nevadabuck had it first. We're going to go in depth as to what we know. The letter came out today, worse than we expected. And we expected very, very severe stuff, but this is 5 level 1 allegations is severe, nasty stuff, bad stuff, a lot of lying, a lot of stupidity on Michigan's part. We knew they were stupid. We've said they were stupid. We've never backed down on them being stupid. And we're going to break down all of it, as always, here on BuckeyeScoop.com. Again, Scoop had it first, but you guys knew that. And again, it's what we're used to. Again, thank you guys for being huge parts of this show. Again, this has been an incredible run of breaking inside information from Nevadabuck has broken the expansion, USC, UCLA coming to the Big Ten. He broke this story. This has been a dominating effort from him, the greatest insider in the history of this gig. I really appreciate all that he does. So we're going to get into that. If you guys enjoy this content, which I know that you guys do, because again, the smartest Buckeye fans in all the game are on this show. And so are most of the fans around college football around the country. They're starting to figure out, hey, we got it. We got goods. We got sources. It's a good place to be. So again, if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, we appreciate you guys. If you guys want to do something ultra special for us, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Again, we appreciate you guys. This is going to be a very fun show. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in my good friend at Nevadabuck. Nevada, wow. What a ride it has been. Starting back in September, October, when you were breaking a lot of these stories ahead of everybody, never wavering. We've broken down Michigan's allegations, show cause potential against Sherrone Moore. It all came to fruition. The Roosters came home to today, and this is a benchmark day for Buckeye Scoop. Again, we have the best fan base in all the land, the smartest fans in all the land. We appreciate all of them that are on here. But go ahead and talk a little bit about, because again, I know you've been asked, and I've been asked, when's the hammer falling? Is the hammer coming? There have been some very stupid people that say, oh, it's going to be a toy hammer, or it's going to be a fake hammer, or whatever. But we never wavered. And again, some people didn't believe us, but hey, that's why we're the Scoop, baby. What do you got to say, Nevada?
Yeah, so much to unwind. I'm not even sure where to start because there's just so much here. Now, keep in mind, this isn't even like the real good day because this is just a draft, the notice of allegations. So it's not the formal notice of allegations, but it's a really good idea. You'll get a really good idea of kind of the scope and breadth of the allegations against Michigan, and it's chilling. And if you're a Michigan fan, you've got to read this and go, oh man. Because the stuff that we knew the Stallion stuff. We knew the 58 games, 58 separate games that they were recording and doing this. The rogue element, Stallions had shared with the other interns, and that they were doing was totally legal, and they believed it, and whatever, which is nice, but it's not really relevant. It's only relevant in terms of maybe potentially getting those people in trouble for being stupid. It doesn't save the institution. It doesn't save Harbaugh. It doesn't save anything else. But the chilling stuff was the Sherrone Moore deleting text messages and then them retrieving them via imaging. He gets a level 2 violation while he's already on probation. That's a show cause. That's a show. I'm telling you right now, I do not know how Sherrone Moore is going to survive this. I don't. If you're on probation and you get hit with another level 2 violation, then I think he's donezo. I think Sherrone Moore is going to be done. Do I think that's a big deal? I mean, it's disruptive, but I don't think much of him as a coach anyway, but it is disruptive. But that's a big story. That's a big story. Now, the big story, though, is Michigan getting hit with lack of institutional control and actively hindering an NCAA investigation. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. I mean, this is SMU level type of stuff. Now, I don't think they'll get the death penalty. I think the death penalty's been pretty much legislated out of business. but I think they'll get everything but because they have to. You look at what Kentucky got for no-show jobs, and you got Arizona State got for recruiting violations. I mean, this thing has got it all. This has got 7 level 1 violations, multiple level 1 violations against the institution. You've got Harbaugh, Denard Robinson, Chris Partridge, Connor Stalions, Sharon Moore, Jesse Mintzer, Klingston. I mean, it's like where the better thing would be like who didn't commit a level 1 violation at Michigan? Please raise your hand and you get some sort of a cookie or something like that. I mean, they all got whacked, and this has got it all. It's got recruiting violations. It's got the electronic surveillance. It's got the advanced scouting. It's got the lying. It's got Chris Partridge telling players to destroy evidence and not cooperate with the NCAA. I mean, it's got it all. And then you just tie that all up in the beginning. What we've been saying is that Michigan is now in repeat offender status because of the previous Cheeseburger Gate. And now you've got a lack of institutional control. And you notice how they use the words very carefully. They weren't talking about failure to monitor. They're talking about lack of control. And that is the classic precursor to LOIC. That is, and now then you throw on top of that actively hindering an institution hindering an NCAA investigation. I'm not even sure where they go from here, because I've thought all along that this would be a couple of years of post a bowl ban, scholarship reductions, fine, vacation of wins for 21, 22 in the first 7 games of 23, and show causes, et cetera, fines, et cetera. Now I'm not sure. I have a very good source who is telling me, and I've been telling you guys, you guys have had a front row seat to this since we started, and you guys can go back and check the receipts and go, is what Nevada been saying, has it followed? Was it reflected in this notice of allegations, or was Nevadabuck all wrong? And I'll contrast that to the Michigan insiders that are saying, oh, it's going to be nothing. They might not even file a notice of allegations. They might just send an apology letter and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's like, this was bad. This was really, really bad. But I think the NCAA's next move is going to be, they are not going to recognize the Big Ten titles in 21, 22, and 23. They're not going to recognize the NCAA championship in 23. And that is going to open the door for the big to pull the big titles and the college football playoff to pull the national championship. And I've never felt that the college football thing was like a real, like over 50% chance. Now I think it's a well over 50% chance that they lose the title. And I think it's a well over 50% chance Sharon Moore does not survive this and gets fired. So lots going on here. Worse than I thought it would be. The part that was worse was because everything else, you could read everything else like that. If they didn't have the part about the school, the lack of institutional control, and actively hindering an NCAA investigation, then I think that a Michigan fan could look at this and say, hey, we can survive this. You can't survive that. That you can't. So the only way you can survive it as a Michigan fan is to ignore it. So you say, oh, it was nothing. Oh, that thing is just about Stalions. It's like they're not reading the whole thing. When you read the whole thing, it's chilling and it's really bad. And we told you it was going to be bad, and this is even worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and again, I don't know how Ward Manuel survives. That's one that I mean, with the Juwan Howard thing that went down, and then this, and then there's even more heinous stuff in the hockey program that hasn't been revealed yet that we've got. Frankly, I don't feel like being first on that, but it's one of those deals where I don't know how he survives. I mean, you look at, the coaches that love, and again, excuse me. A level 1 violation is the most serious offense that can be levied by the NCAA. They have 5 separate ones, 4 against coaches, 1 against the university. That is insanely harsh. That is, again, we knew it was going to be bad because again, Jim Harbaugh and all these guys like, oh, we're not going to comply. We're not going to give up our phones. We're going to delete everything. That is the worst course of action you can take. Because, I mean, they're already dead. They're already murderers with blood all over their hands and shoes and fingerprints and evident DNA everywhere. Like, that's what this was. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, again, the fact that people didn't think that they were going to get smoked, or it proves how stupid the Michigan beat is. And really, there are a lot of reporters like, oh, nothing's going to happen. It's been too long. I'm like, well, yeah, because they're doing forensic accounting on these guys' cell phones and on their hard drives. And Connor Stalions ran off with a hard drive that surely had video clips of all of these signals on it. Again, you go put that. Again, Connor is really dumb. But I'm sure that there are some things that he did to try to protect himself. He didn't put any of it on the school hard drive. He had it on a separate, probably 5 terabyte or 10 terabyte drive that you could buy at Best Buy. Had all that stuff on there so that he could unplug it. I'm sure he was watching it on the video system. I know exactly how I would do exactly what he did. I would have gotten all this film, sent it via iCloud or sent it via some transfer mechanism, some Dropbox or whatever. I would have spliced it all. Because again, what this kid would have told the guy to do is video the signal with your iPhone. Okay, video the guy doing the little whirly bird, your Y motion, and then pan it over to the play. So okay, this was all of it, and it was an inside zone to the right, or it was a toss sweep to the left, or it was a passing play, or whatever. Because then it's real easy to pair it with the film, because you're gonna get pristine 4K film. Because in college football, everybody trades film with everybody, especially in the conference. And so, it would just not be hard to pair all that stuff together. And then you say, okay, here's the tight zone. Here's all of the runs to the left, or all the tight zones to the left, or here's all the stuff to the right, whatever. And then you splice all that together, and it would be exceptionally easy to figure out, okay, well, this is the main signaler, because he's the guy that does this every time. This means tight zone. This means flag, whatever. And so again, that's what he did. He had it all on hard drives. Because again, it says, I'm going to put this back up on the screen. Again, for those of you guys that haven't read this, Pete Thamel brought this out today, but we've been, all over this, but I knew how they did it. We broke it down on the show. We had it on the telestrator, and I'm like, guys, and people are saying that these coordinators didn't know, and Jim Harbaugh acts like he didn't know. And again, when you're the head coach, it's all on you. You can't say, oh, I don't know. Because here's the thing about Jim Harbaugh. He's sly like a fox. He likes to act like he's stupid. And he likes to act like, well, I don't know. I don't know. It's, the doctors are the doctors. And I don't know what the doctor, I'm not a doctor. And he loves to do that. There's nothing he loves more than not knowing. Well, I don't know. Jim Harbaugh is a razor sharp coach. He knew exactly what was going on. And so are his idiotic, moronic coordinators. And again, they were up against it. They were desperate. Their backs were against the wall. He got a 50% pay cut from his athletic director. And so he had to have a desperate measures type deal. Nobody in the NFL wanted him after Ryan Day housed him in Ann Arbor in 2019, ran him off the field. They ran from us in 2020. And then the last 3 years, they've cheated their balls off. And that's the only reason they had a chance. And again, I feel terrible for Ryan Day. I feel terrible for CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud would have 2 Heismans if it wasn't for this. These guys cheated. They knew what they were doing, and they should be smashed into eternity for what they did to these kids. Because again, it's again the people say, oh, he's still going to stop the play, whatever. You guys are morons. You guys are the same people that root for Ben Johnson and Lance Armstrong and all these other moronic cheaters. And again, that's what Michigan football is now. They're Lance Armstrong. Oh, well, he won all those Tour de France's. Yeah, he was doped to the gills, but that's what Michigan is. Oh, well, you can't take the titles. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see. Because again, when they vacate everything, do you think the college football playoff wants a crew that has all their games vacated to have a national championship assigned to them? There's no chance. But hey, we've only been right about everything, so we're going to see how this goes. But again, it mentions Jim Harbaugh, Chris Partridge, Denard Robinson, who's in the ether now. Connor Stalions will never coach or be around a college football program again. Steve Klinkstone, and these guys predominantly all fled to the NFL, except Denard. Denard just off in Never Land to get fired for an OVI. But Harbaugh left, and again, when I saw the operations director leave to go to the LA Chargers like a month ago, when the idiot from Ohio State, Aaron Dunston, left, I'm just telling you, I was like, everyone's getting out. They know it's coming. The nuclear bomb is coming. I've been saying it, and again, people they don't understand when you're this right, and sometimes it felt like Nevada and I were the only ones that were sane. I was like, is everybody else blind? Can nobody else see what these guys are doing? And again, I'm different because I coached and I played, and I know the kind of advantage this is. And again, if this was something that was legal, believe me, every school in the universe would be doing this, but it's completely illegal. This is as bad as it gets. And again, like when you read Stalions, he ran out with the hard drive, 58, scouting, including seven. They scouted one team 7 different times in 2022. Obviously, Ohio State. It's just comical because again, investigators use ticket information, which again, this is what I was talking about. Because people are like, why haven't we heard anything yet? Well, you have to get all of this evidence together, build this report out. So I mean, they got to go through all Ticketmaster, StubHub, every website known to man, search for Connor Stalions, see where he transferred the stuff to, who got the tickets, are they going to cooperate? What do they know? What videos did they take? Can they find stuff on iCloud? Is there anything on Michigan servers? So you got forensic accountants. You've got, this takes a lot of time, folks. You got to hire a firm to do it because this is severe. They're going after ticket information, film, photographs, interviewing people that were part of it. And then there's the Central Michigan thing where he's on the sideline in his spy glasses, like looking down. And they figured out that was him as well, which we've been saying. We've put that video up 1,000 times. It's just so bad at Nevada. And then it gets to the best part in Nevada, and I'm going to throw it back to you. It says that he failed to cooperate. The draft states in October of 2023, he removed hard drives from the Michigan football offices, again, because that's what had all the film from all the different games on it, and gave a football player a sheet containing play calling signals of a future opponent. And again, so when all of these moronic players and all these moronic people in media, why would you punish the players? Oh, what did the players do? The players all knew what was going on. I promise you. Again, I'll go back and I'll show the 10 TV video where they got the camera on the sideline and Connor is saying it's a pass, and you see 30 players pointing to the sky. And they're not just doing that because they need to stretch. They're doing that because they know exactly what they're doing. They know that Connor Stalions is picking the signals. They're in on it. They're all cheaters. So this isn't just Connor Stalions and Jim Harbaugh and Sharon Moore and Patridge and Clinksdale and all these guys. The players are all in on this. So again, that's why this is so bad. This wasn't like this was some lone, they tried to paint him like he's some lone wolf, like he's Ted Kaczynski or something. He's not. Jim Harbaugh knew exactly what was going on. So did Sharon Moore. And we said it since day one. And again, we're right. And the Scoop had it first because that's what we do. That's why you guys pay attention. That's why the smartest and best Ohio State fans, and now the smartest and best college football fans are tuning into us because they're figuring out we get some pretty good sources. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is really it's so interesting to me though because it's like a psychological one of those Rorschach tests or something like that where when this thing broke, the first thing I asked you, I'm like, how are Michigan fans reacting to this? I mean, are Michigan fans just like ignoring the obvious reality, or where are they at? And after having a chance to kind of scrounge around, they're really still in denial right now. They're just in denial. We haven't got to bargaining. We haven't got anything. They're just completely in denial that this is anything. And somehow they've convinced themselves that they're the victims. And I'm so glad you brought up CJ Stroud. Man, so many guys got screwed because of this cheating. I mean, Ryan Day owns a legacy right now at Ohio State that's not fair because these guys cheated him. They literally cheated him. And but now here's what's going to come next. I don't need to be like Merlin the magician to do this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. What's going to happen next is now the Michigan fans they've gone to, oh, this is nothing. So when the NCAA hits them, they're going to cry that they're the victims now, that the NCAA is overreaching. This isn't fair. That's where they're going to next. So that'll be my next prediction. That's where we'll get to in the next phase of this thing. They're still in denial that this. I mean, how can you read it? If I read that Ohio State actively hindered an ongoing NCAA investigation and demonstrated lack of institutional control, dude, I would be despondent. I'd be despondent because I know that we're screwed. I would know that it was over, that whatever was going on, whatever good times were happening, it was the party was over, man. Because when you get that, we're not talking about no-show job. No-show. I can't believe that Kentucky got hit for that. I said to you earlier today, NIL is basically a no-show job. You get paid money for nothing, and at the end, NIL should be nothing. And but somehow they ended up vacating wins over some no-show jobs. Like, this is a billion times worse than that. This affected legacies and trophies and championships and jobs and careers, and went right to the heart of the matter. And the biggest thing with the NCAA is when you're talking about the integrity of the game. Does it attack the integrity of the game? And this goes right to the integrity of the game. So I like I said, I did not think that the NCAA was going to. I did not believe. I've been saying for a long time, when the NCAA put that thing in there about exemplary cooperation. Remember, we had that whole show about the NCAA enacts this whole new legislation, saying if you demonstrate exemplary cooperation, like Arizona State did, you only get 1 year of a bowl ban for recruiting violations. That's for exemplary cooperation. That was the Michigan rule. Because, but I didn't think they'd actually call them out for actively hindering and for not. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy bad. I thought Harbaugh and Stalions would get it, but for the institution to get hit with an actively hindering an ongoing NCAA investigation, I mean, Michigan fans, guys, you guys have got to wake up, because the only thing that's going to make this better for you is if you start to get into reality land and start dealing with the reality of the situation. This is bad. You guys did bad things. You're going to get punished for it. Nobody's, this isn't just Justin Spiro from Michigan State and mean old Nevadabuck from Ohio State holding on to these stories. This is bad. You guys screwed up. You cheated and you got caught. And now, and it was just that it involved everybody. It involved the entire staff. And, like I said, I just don't have. Today was just such an interesting day because I really thought that when this came out that finally the Michigan fans and the Michigan insiders would have a little bit of intellectual curiosity and maybe a little intellectual honesty and say, wow, this reads bad. This is, we're really going to get spanked. But no, they're going down with the ship. I mean, we had that one idiot for the rival set that doofus Hinsky Mishkuki, or whatever the guy's name was, going, there's not even going to be a notice of allegations. I'm not even sure if they're going to even send one over. They may just send over a note and just say, like, I mean, he posted that 2 days ago, and you're paying for this information. If I'm that wrong, I'm leaving the business. I am getting out of the business. I'm resigning. I couldn't show my face if I was that wrong. I mean, it's one thing to miss on something. Everybody's going to miss. You can't be that wrong on stuff. You just can't. And continue to have people pay you money to do it. That guy should immediately get out of the ballot, should get out of the business. Blue Sam should go off to doing whatever he does. Do something other. These guys are completely doofuses. And if you're a Michigan fan, they are stealing from you. They're stealing your money. And if you're paying money for inside information and you're listening to those guys, man, just take the money and you give it to a charity or go burn it in a bonfire. That would be a better use of your money than giving it to those doofuses, because you're not getting any information.
Yeah, because they're pawns. That's what the problem is that's what beats are now. Is they're pawns for the athletic department. That's what all these beats are now. And we're not. Like, we're out here to do the right way and give you guys the real scoop. What's really going on. Again,
but do you really think, but hold on, Kirk. Do you really think the athletic department is telling them, hey guys, nothing's going to happen here. This is really nothing, and we may get an apology letter from the NCAA.
I mean, you got to understand, they're the same guys that go on down the stretch are saying bet. The president of the university said bet. The president. I mean, if I was the head of the board of trustees, I would fire emergency meeting tonight. Ward Manuel gone. He can go to fat camp. That president is gone. Sean Mort gone. And we're taking the year off. Because again, what are we talking about? Like, it's one thing. Here's the thing. Like, they got caught red-handed cheating. And they threw up the double bird and they thumbed their nose at the NCAA. And I'd say, look, here's the deal. Look, you guys can do that, but you're not going to be employed here anymore, and we're going to fire you for cause. Like, Sean Moore, you're not getting a penny of the $20 million we just signed you for. And again, I'd fire Ward Manuel tonight. They signed him for $20 million after he didn't cooperate and he deleted text messages. You signed him to make your head coach? I mean, you got to take a fire hose to the whole thing. And Ward Manuel knew that when this went down. if I'm Ward, Jabba the Hutt, and I walk in and I say, hey, are you cooperating? No. Did you delete all the text messages? Yes. Are they going to hire, Apple Care or some forensic person to find all your text messages from a previous iCloud save? Also, yes. Are there 53 text messages or whatever from Connor Stalions that do any of them say anything important other than, hey, I want a mayo with Swiss and double turkey sub or whatever? Well, they had something on there because I deleted all of my text messages. So again, I'm just like, and then they thumbed their nose at it. Bet. All down the stretch. Jim Harbaugh. Oh, well, we didn't know what we were doing. Again, the best line ever is that in that stupid notice from ESPN is that they said, oh, we didn't know what we were doing was illegal. Well, then why doesn't everybody do it? Why doesn't every team in the nation do it? Why haven't you guys been doing it for 10 years then? Why have you been doing it since Urban used to beat you like a rented mule? Urban used to beat the tar out of Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he didn't do this until he had a 50% pay cut, and he's up against it, and Ryan Day was about to run a train on him every year, and all of a sudden they take the year off, and they're like, guys, we better figure something out, because guess what? I have no value to go to the NFL. So all of a sudden they cheat like crazy, and he's basically begging. Like, he met with the Minnesota Vikings last year on signing day, 2 years ago, he's trying to get out of there. I mean, a head football coach at the University of Michigan was meeting with an NFL team on National Signing Day, and Ward Manuel did not fire him immediately. I'd fire the athletic director for that. How is our head coach on National Signing Day meeting with an NFL team? What does he know? Why does a Michigan man who wants to be known as a Michigan man, he said, the day that I'm buried, the best thing that they could say for my eulogy is that I'm a Michigan man. Played for Bo Schembechler. Why does he want to get out of here so bad? What does he know? Oh, that's what he knows? Oh, he sees the nuclear bomb coming towards the building, hurtling towards the building. The only reason he didn't go to the NFL is because he didn't get offered. They took Kevin O'Connell instead, which is whatever. But then as soon as that stock got up, man, he was on the first thing smoking to Los Angeles. He got as far away. I mean, if there was an NFL team in North Korea, he had gone there. As far away from Ann Arbor as he could possibly get is where he went. Los Angeles, where nobody even cares about Michigan football. They don't even know that there's football going on out there. So again, that's the thing is, I'm like, you gave Sherrone Moore a $25 million extension when you knew that he didn't cooperate with the NCAA. He deleted text messages. Like, what is going on up there, Michigan men? I mean, I'd be embarrassed if anyone I knew was even friends with Michigan people at this point. The Juwan Howard thing, then this, and then the hockey stuff, which is just as bad. Oh my God. And Ward's still employed. What are they doing? So again, I'm going to go back into the vault. And again, shout out to Dom Taveri and Adam King from 10TV. Again, you guys nailed this. This is fantastic. I've used this a bunch. Thank you, 10TV. You guys are on the right to this. This is amazing stuff. So, all right, let's break it down, Nevada. Let me stretch. Hang on a second. And I'm not faded, so I'm actually just going to throw the shades on because that's how I'm feeling right now. All right, we got the look back going. We've seen this a million times. So who we got over here? Oh, who's this fat guy over here? Denard Robinson, out of the program. Who's over here? Connor Stalions. Never would guess it. They're all looking over there. They're all looking at our signalers. Same as Dewan, same as our whole squad. Josh Fry, Enoch, there's Enoch. All getting the signal. CJ's getting it. The second they get it, and again, what's Denard got in his hand? I bet you it's a signal sheet. I bet my house on that. Same thing that Connor Stalions says. The second they got it, and Connor's the guy that picks it, look at all the hands go up. Every single player, Denard, look at Denard. There's Denard. Denard's fat, chubby hand is going up in the air. Connor's are going up in the air. They're making an adjustment on the play call. And again, look at all these arms. Look how many, all the way down here. The whole sideline is pointing up, saying it's a pass. How do they know that? How do they know that? I mean, but they're not gonna. This isn't cheating. That the entire sideline knows it's a pass. Like, imagine if you're CJ or you're one of these receivers and you're looking over, it's like, wow, how does everybody already know that it's a pass? That's crazy. We just changed the play. We just did a look back where we could literally change our play, and they picked it. And again, this is the entire sideline all the way down to here. Every guy on the team is pointing to the sky. That has never happened in the history of football, ever. Ever. Go watch an NFL game, go watch every college game that's ever existed and show me where you've seen that before. The backup, defensive tackle is down here, 20 yards away from Connor Stalions, and they're all pointing up at the sky. They're all signaling. They all know. They're all in on it. So, again, it's so like, look at this. I mean, Denard doesn't know what's going on. He's a general studies guy. He has no clue. But Connor, Mr. Rico Suave over here is picking it. And again, who's he right next to? The defensive coordinator is about to make the play call. Wow. No way. I can't believe it. Unbelievable. But this isn't cheating. The hammer is not coming. This is totally legal. This is totally normal. They pick it. And again, when people say, oh, well, you can't punish the players, lone wolf, couple coaches. Every single player knows what's going on. I've never seen this in my life. Every single player is pointing at the sky. I've never seen it in my life. So again, shout out to 10 TV. Shout out to Dami. I love you, buddy. And of course, there's little douchebag McGee over there leading the charge. But again, the eye in the sky doesn't lie, especially when your boy's over here. Because when I get that telestrator out and I can break all that down for you, like, wow, that is pretty obvious, isn't it? Thank God for Buckeye Scoop and Nevadabuck. Nevada, your thoughts before we get into our massive amount of super chats?
I mean, first of all, like Stallion, I think back on Stalions. You go back to his LinkedIn, and he was talking about applying counterintelligence tactics versus football. I mean, he was basically saying, he was bragging about. He was so proud of what he had done. Everybody knew what this thing was. Everybody knew what this thing was about. And I will maintain, I've watched a lot of football games. I know you've watched a lot of football games, and we've all, everybody here, because you guys are smart fans, good fans, experienced, you guys have watched a lot of football games. The second half of the 2022 Michigan game will never make sense to me. How our offense was cooking so good in the first half, and the second half we got completely shut down. Then we scored 3 points or whatever it was. That will never make, I'll never understand how that happened and how we did that. And you see this and you kind of go, wow. I'm sure they were really, I mean, they knew every play. They knew every play. It took them about a half to kind of dial it in. And don't tell me it was a 3% difference. Don't tell me it didn't affect the outcome. If there ever was a game that was stolen, it was that game. That game, Michigan had no business winning. Somehow they come up with this unbelievable defensive effort there in the second half of the game, after being completely just like almost run off the field in the first half, and they managed to win. I mean, crazy trade, but it's nice to see. I've got a lot of questions today from people. Who leaked this notice of allegation? And see, it's funny because the first logical thing is you say, well, the NCAA did it because they want to hurt Michigan, but part of me is like, I wonder if Michigan leaked it because they know it's going to come out anyway, and so that they come out and then they kind of play the aggrieved party, like, oh, how did this get out? This should never have gotten out, and look, we're the kind of the victims. Because I'm always looking at that spy versus spy stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan was the one that leaked this NOA, because it's not like it wasn't going to come out. So this kind of lessens the impact when the actual NOA does come out, and they can blame it on the NCAA. They can blame it. Oh, those guys are big meaning. See, they're leaking this stuff. I think Michigan leaked this. I really do. And people may think that I'm crazy, but my dad was an intelligence officer. I've always been fascinated by that kind of intelligence disinformation thing. And this one just seems like, wow, who would have the most to gain by leaking this? I think it's Michigan. I think Michigan leaked this thing. And now that they're all singing in unison, we're the victim. Oh, this is nothing. Oh, this is just a rogue agent. Oh, it was just Connor Stalions. That's where that's where the fault should lie. That's who should get hit. And if you're gonna have to hit somebody, you have to hit Harbaugh. But don't hurt the kid. Don't hurt the innocent kids of Michigan. I don't think the NCAA bought any of it, and I can't wait for the active letter of the notice of allegations to come out, because then we can see what change from draft form to the final form. But man, if you're a Michigan fan, you've got to be really, really. It's got to be distressing. It's got to be really distressing to read that. And I say that with all humility. If I was an Ohio State fan and that was noticeable allegation came against me, I would be chilled to the bone and absolutely convinced that really terrible things were going to happen to the program, and that we deserved it.
Yeah, agree. Because the kids all thought this was some big joke. I mean, again, they were getting over on this. Wow, this is it's real easy to play defense when we know what's coming. Like real easy. Again, I ran scout team defense versus Ohio State's offense when I worked there, and there would be plays where they said, "Hey, you call the defense. You can run anything versus this look." And I would look at the pass protection, and I would drop the perfect play, and I would smoke the first team guys with a bunch of fourth stringers just because I knew it. Now imagine if it's ones versus ones, it's equal talent. That's a whole different ball of wax. But you can pick apart anything if you know it's coming. Again, I'm going to do one more. Then we're going to get into the super chats because they're piling up. Again, if you guys have questions, again, the super chats go to Pay It Forward. We appreciate you guys. We're going to start digging into those in 1 second. So appreciate you guys. But again, this is another one. This is a classic. So here, again, I've been in a Connor Stalions kind of role. QC, low level, $20,000 a year staffer. I've been there. Because again, everyone that starts in football, they generally start as a gopher, as a young coach. You don't make any money, and you're never right next to the DC. Never right in his ear. Never during the Ohio State Michigan game are you right in the DC's ear. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So then, you look at this. It's a look back. He's getting the call. He tells him what's coming, screaming it through the double muff earphones, scream it into his ear. And right after he gets the intel, he's making the call. The signals are going up, the boards are going up, everything's getting called up. And again, when you look at this is you want to talk about cheating. Wait till you see this, because this is one of my favorite plays of all time. They're in too high, which again, versus our receivers, which is murderer's row. We've got Emeka, we've got Julian. I think that's Marvin. So, you've got 3 5-star wide receivers out there. Marvin's best receiver in the nation this year. And so you have to play too high on 2nd and 9. But again, you watch this play, the ball, as soon as the ball snapped, the 2 high safeties are sprinting to the line of scrimmage. I've never seen anything like that. Ever. Why aren't they just in single high? Oh, because they don't have to be. They can show 2 high and bring everybody right to where the ball's going. You know why? Because they know it's to run to the right. So watch this linebacker. Watch these safeties trigger. As soon as the ball is snapped, these guys are flying. And against that guy, against Marvin Harrison, are you crazy? You're just going to leave him on an island with CJ Stroud at quarterback? You got to be out of your mind. But nope, when you know the play's a run and it's run to the right, these guys are triggering immediately versus the best receiver in school history outside of Chris Carter. And then you've got Emeka, who's a first rounder. Like you would never call this ever on 2nd and 9. You'd think Ohio State, the way we throw the ball is coming. But hey, they knew it was the counter play. Look how these guys play it. I mean, this is crazy. Look at this. You want to talk about the perfect defense. I mean, we got our pull guy and we got our running back, and there's 2 guys in the hole. There's a guy here. This guy's skimming over here. Impossible. Literally impossible, because they called the play out from a too high look. Like, you never would see safeties trigger like that on the snap of the ball. All right, it's super chat time. Nevada, any other thoughts? And we are going to roll into the super chats.
Now, my phone is going to melt tonight, so man, let's get into the super chats quickly, because this has been quite the day.
Go put it in the ice bucket and we'll be good. All right. Timothy Mullins, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. Harbaugh's first job was for his dad. He means himself when he says born on third base. Yeah, he worked for Jack Harbaugh. And again, most of these guys that say that, usually when they say that, it's a reflection. They're looking in the mirror and they got to say something stupid. Yeah, I mean, his dad was a longtime coach, and he had a meteoric rise. So, don't cry for me, Argentina. Nevada, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, whenever people like to say stuff about other people that's true of themselves, and that situation there with I'm sure Harbaugh's insecure about the fact that his dad's a coaching legend and that he was born on third base, truly, but so he attributes that to some other people, and Ryan Day's an easy target because most people's first job is in Ohio State football. But, hey, Harbaugh cheated. I want to see what the NFL does after this too, because after this notice of allegation I want to see what happens with the NFL. I want to see if there's anything that they do with Harbaugh and the Chargers. That'll be interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, because if they're going to suspend Jim Tressel, what they did to Jim Tressel is disgusting when he's with the Colts. So, I mean, what are you going to do for this guy? Because, again, this was an escape hatch. This was a hit the button, fly out of the spaceship as it's about to blow up, get out of the nuclear blast zone. That's what this was. And, again, like, the director of operations leaves like 2 months ago. I'm like, out of the blue. Because, again, I think they knew. Well, I know they knew. Excuse me. Well, Buck, thank you for the 10. I appreciate you, my friend. Been talking with my non-OSU fans today about the scandal. They asked me how I knew so much months ago. I told them the scoop always had it first. So excited that this is finally coming out. Yeah, and again, this is Nevadabuck at his finest. Again, this is like when he broke the expansion news. This is like during the COVID year when he was breaking when we were coming back, like week for week. He was naming, this is how it's going to play out. This is when we're going to start playing. This is what he does. This is why he's the best insider in the game. Again, this is why the scoop has it first, because Nevadabuck, again, and our network of sources is second to none. So, again, a lot of people like to laugh, but I'm like, we're not laughing. We take this seriously. We work on Sundays. We don't take weeks off. We don't take days off. We're out here grinding. And again, that's why we get to bring the goods to you guys. And again, people lie, but our numbers don't. It's why we're the number one Ohio State website by far. We're one of the preeminent college football websites now. Our membership skyrocketing right now. Broke every record that we've ever had last month. So again, we appreciate you guys. Again, we work really hard to make sure you guys have the best information out there. But Nevada, do you have any thoughts to that? Again, Iowa Buck, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the 10. Talking with his non-OSU friends today, and they asked how he knew so much a month ago. Told him that Scoop always has it first, and he's excited this is coming out. Your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, very kind words. And look, we just, there are certain, we'll tell you if we have it. And we'll also tell you if we don't have it. There's a lot that I get asked questions. You guys know, if you're a regular listener to the show, I'll say, I don't know. Don't know that one. Don't have it. That other stuff. But when we know, we know. And let me tell you, the Michigan stuff, we know this. And it's not because we're so smart, or it's not because, we have really good sources. And we have a couple of really, really, really good sources on this that have basically been telling us what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And we're happy to share that with you guys. And I'm glad you guys listen every night, because I do think, I wish there were shows like this when I was going, because I think about, man, what would I want to, I just want to be educated. I don't want to be fed pablum. I don't want to be fed spin. I don't want to be fed happy tales. I want to know what's going on. And we try to pride ourselves to give you what's going on. So thanks for the nice compliment.
Yeah, and that's what we do. Like, again, we're not controlled by anybody. Like, we don't bend the knee for anybody. Like, we're like the real kings of the North. Like, we're not the people that are just like, oh, well, we're not allowed to say this, or we can't say this. And again, accuracy is very important in what we do. And again, we pride ourselves on nailing these things, and we're very happy that you guys are with us along the way. Benji, appreciate the 50. That's very generous. Appreciate you, my friend. Our Pay It Forward has been fantastic. We signed up a ton of veterans, police officers. And real quick, I'm going to give a shout out to those people, because I know it's very hard to be a police officer right now. And again, I get texts and calls from a lot of national police force, local Columbus PD. We appreciate you guys. Again, we're proud of this country. Not everybody is, but on Buckeye Scoop, we're very proud of this country. And we like to take care of our veterans, our first responders. So again, we appreciate all that you guys do. Thank you guys for supporting Pay It Forward. And thank you to the people that keep this nation and this country safe. Again, we can't say it enough. We say it all the time because we mean it. And again, at our Buckeye Scoop golf outing, we had a member of the recovery team for Black Hawk Down, the Black Hawk Down. He was flying in after the disaster happened. So this is the kind of people that are on BuckeyeScoop.com. He actually joined BuckeyeScoop.com. His brother was a member. So quality people, patriots, and again, those are the type of people that we love to take care of and get to know. And we're very proud that they're members of our community and our podcast and our website. So thank you. With that being said, Ben G., Nevada, Kirk, if Michigan doesn't vacate the Natty, it was all worth it. Yes or no, and why? Also, why the silence from media folks who killed Tress? God, I hate the media. Board has been unreal on this, and it got my popcorn ready to watch it burn. Well, here's my thing. I don't know how the college football playoff can take themselves seriously if they're not going to vacate. Because again, when you look at what these guys did and how obvious it was and how heinous it was, how deep it was, like how on earth could you take yourself seriously if you allow that to happen? This is Lance Armstrong doping bad. This is Ben Johnson juice to the gills in the Olympics bad. Caught dead. You know, nobody recognizes Lance Armstrong as some amazing American athlete anymore because he was cheating. He was juice to the gills. And him and Michigan football, they're the same thing. Completely denying it. Oh, I'll take any tests. Oh, we did everything the right way. Oh, we never cheated. And they're going to get nailed to the cross. It's going to be fantastic. Because again, we knew they were cheating. We broke it all down. We've broken it down on that telestrator probably 50 times. Guys, this is not legal what they're doing. You know, the little play sheet with Keenan Bailey, he wears a blue shirt, a green shirt. Like these guys had a very sophisticated yet ham-handed method of doing this stuff. So I don't know how you can take these guys seriously because I think that these penalties are going to be severe. You know, and again, it's going to be a big waterfall where it's like, hey, you know, we're vacating these wins, and you can't take any organization seriously unless they vacate what these guys did. Nevada, your thoughts again? If Michigan doesn't vacate the natty, it was all worth it. Yes or no, and why? Also, why the silence from the media folks who kill trust? Well, and I'll touch on that because I did not touch on that. It's because they're spineless. They're worthless human beings. They buried one of the greatest human beings in the world with shoddy reporting, sensationalized journalism. And again, people like to see a good man fail or brought down or not be who he really is, or they like to expose him for stupidity. Like, you know, they said he rigged a raffle and his players were eating fried chicken and smoking weed and playing video games and at some tattoo parlor. Like, I mean, like that's the end of days. Oh my God. Like when he's at St. Peter's gates, he's going to hit the button that makes him fall into the hole because of that. Jim Tressel is one of the greatest human beings who's ever been on this earth. He would do anything for any of his former players. He's the most selfless human being I've ever been around, and I'd do anything for him. I love him to death, and he loves this show. He wears our gear. Just as good of a person. He saved more lives than any college football coach in history. He's this generation's Woody Hayes in terms of how much he cares for his guys off the field, and I'd do anything for him. Nevada, your thoughts? Michigan doesn't vacate the natty. If it was all worth it, yes or no, and why? And also why the silence from the media folks who killed Tress. Your thoughts?
Well, the Tress thing, I think the story would be different if Harbaugh was still there at Michigan. It'd probably be amped up. I mean, Sherrone Moore's a nobody. And so, you know, beating on Sherrone Moore for the media, it's just not a story. Tressel was a national champion. He was the sweater vest guy, the Dudley Do-Right, and he was at Ohio State. And I mean, Sherrone Moore's the hopeless dupe that got sucked into the job. They threw the bag at him, despite that he was on probation already, and then he commits more NCAA violations when he's on probation. So, I mean, he's just a sad sack, and nobody likes to jump on the sad sack. So I think that's probably where that story was. I mean, was it all worth it for Michigan? I don't think so. I mean, for me, college football is all about your legacy, about how people remember you. If you're known forever and ever, if my program was always known as the cheating program, I wouldn't want to be a Houston Astros fan. I wouldn't, I don't want to be a Michigan fan where that everything's tainted. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to be there, especially if I knew that the future of my program was going to be destroyed by the actions of something that happened in the past. Because the future, I mean, there's nothing that I'm more excited about than this 2024 season. And then after that, 2025 and 2020, I don't spend any time reflecting on 2014 and going, wow, I don't care what happens in 2024, man. We won a national championship 10 years ago, so it was all worth it. No chance. And I really believe that championship is in jeopardy. I really believe, more so than I've ever felt before, I think that championship is in jeopardy. And I think the NCAA's got that in the crosshairs. I think they've got the mechanism they're not going to recognize. That's going to be they're not going to recognize. They can't vacate it, but they cannot recognize it. If they don't recognize it, watch out what happens after that. Remember where you heard those words, not recognize. That's the words to look for. Those are the magic words.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to touch. It's just like SMU football. Like, what is the first thing that was 30 years ago. First thing everybody thinks of is death penalty, cheating. And again, what they did wasn't anywhere near as bad as what Michigan did. Because, paying players was obviously, cheating, but, they weren't spying and stealing signals and doing it all unauthorized, illegally, video surveillance. Like that literally cost people, their jobs. And I've been saying it. I said, listen to James Franklin saying this isn't a big deal. Marconi Cerrone, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. The best part is you guys were correct about every single thing along the way, and the Michigan beat was wrong about everything along the way. Great reporting. I mean, it was almost spellbinding how bad they were. Nevada, I'll let you go first on this, but like, how bad is the Michigan beat? I mean, even from Jim Harbaugh, like not flying back to sign an extension at Michigan, when you're like, yeah, I've got a hammer bet on the fact that he's going to the Chargers because I've got a really good source that knows that he already has the contract signed. But how bad has the Michigan beat been?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you're in kind of an era where people can check receipts. Everything's kind of online. And you can check things in terms of what been said. And at this point, it's just they're just shameless. It's just comical. And yeah, I mean, I think we've had this story nailed from the beginning, and I appreciate the fact that people remember that. And we try to, like I said, we try to tell you when we have it. We try to tell you exactly what we're hearing. The NOA, the draft NOA that you guys saw today is the very reason why we've been saying Michigan's going to get hammered. That's the stuff that we've known for months, what was coming. So the question you have to ask, just read that as a dispassionate observer. Just read that and say, what conclusion do you draw as a rational, intelligent person regarding the punishment for Michigan? Do you think this is a nothing burger? Do you think this is a Kenner Price toy hammer? Do you think this is going to be really bad something? Our conclusion from having information about the nose allegation was that it was going to be really, really bad. And frankly, the draft NOA is even worse. That extra little juicer there about the actively hindering an ongoing NCAA violation. I mean, guys, that's so bad. That is so bad. And but I appreciate the kind words. We've tried to be good. We've worked really, really hard on this story, and just appreciate people noticing and recognizing the hard work.
OSU Lens, thank you for the 5. Hope you're doing great tonight. Great show. Love the interview with Troy and Coach. I appreciate that. They're going to be back soon. Keep up the great content. Go Bucks. Appreciate that, Lens. Again, Coach Tress and Troy are my guys. Love them both to death. I got great feedback on that. Again, it's not something, we'll do it on occasion, but we like to do what we do here with Nevada. But I love having Troy on. I love having Tress on. I don't think they've ever been on a podcast at the same time together. So that was kind of special just to have them kind of play off each other and going through some of the stuff. Because again, I think it unlocks a different level of understanding as to what's going on when you've got two guys that lived it together, the coach-player relationship, some of the funny stories that unlocks. I think it was spectacular. I love those guys to death. They'll be back on. But I appreciate you, Lens, and thank you for all of your support. Survive the Hunt. Thank you for the 5. What a glorious, glorious day in Scoop. We trust. Go Bucks. Nevada, your thoughts?
Well, like I said, just such nice compliments. We appreciate it. We work hard. We're going to continue to work hard. There's going to be a lot more to come out on this story. So, like I said, we're not even getting to the penalty phase yet, which is going to be just glorious. And we'll give you guys a front row seat to it, I promise.
Absolutely. Larry Daniels, thanks for the deuce. I saw this today. You were saying Tony Alford in the driver's seat. How funny would that be? And again, this tells me a lot about Tony Alford's character when he knew that they were doing this and he still went and jumped on that plane that was about to crash into the side of the mountain. I know that Tony's not very smart, but then he's like, well, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to follow these guys that were cheating and they ruined a lot of our kids' careers and the anguish that they went through. But hey, money's green, baby. So, again, watch your back. He's like the hunchback from 300 that sells out Leonidas to Xerxes. Because that's what Tony Alford is at this point. But what are your thoughts of that? Is Tony Alford in the driver's seat?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's certainly possible. I mean, they're going to need somebody to do it. Nobody else on that staff is really. Um, I mean, I can't imagine. Again, that is not the craziest idea, and maybe Tony's been playing seven-dimensional chess all along, and he's just way ahead of us. But I just don't see how Sharon Moore survives. I do not. You're talking about the active head coach for Michigan. I believe is going to be fired because I don't think you can. I don't think he can survive this. I don't think the board of trustees is going to put up with it. I think Yoko Ono and Ward Manuel are both. Those
The
guys are
cook
both
whatever.
morally bankrupt, but I mean, the board of trustees has got to step in at some point and kind of go, what are we doing here, guys? Because as you said, it's not just the football program is a mess. The basketball program with Juwan Howard was just the hockey stuff, man. We don't even got to
Whew.
go into that. But that athletic department is a disaster. It is the classic definition of an athletic department that is completely out of control. And
Yep.
somebody's got to be the adult in the room, and I think it's got to be the Michigan Board of Trustees.
Totally agree. Dave Mathis, thanks for the deuce. Appreciate you, my friend. Nothing to show because it's deleted. Yeah, you're right. They deleted everything. They tried to. Again, with modern tech, man, it's hard to delete stuff. I mean, these forensic guys, man, they can dig up pretty much anything. They could go into your iCloud and find it. So, like I said, it's better just to turn. Like I said it from day one. If you're guilty, turn everything over, beg for mercy, cooperate. That's the best course of action with the NCAA. Like, again, what these guys did is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. They said, oh no, we're not talking. We're just going to play dumb. Because again, Jim Harbaugh's favorite thing in the whole entire world to do is just play dumb. Oh, I had no idea. And no, I knew nothing about it. I'm like, really? You didn't know why some little Geppetto intern who makes 10 grand a year is talking to your two coordinators before they call every single play? You never said, who is this guy? I don't know who he is. Why is he talking to you? What's he know? Like, why are all of our players pointing up in the air before every play? I don't know, because I'm Jim Harbaugh. And I'm just stupid. I wear my khakis every day and I wear the same stupid pullover every day because I'm stupid. I'm dumb. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, man. He was slick like a fox, man. Because he is on that first flight out to LA, boy. He's living in that RV and that lot in Compton or wherever he's at, and he's just loving life because he's like, man, I skated on this thing because this ain't a good day to be a Michigan Wolverine. I mean, the best part about him is when they did the ring ceremony like a month ago, he didn't even wear Michigan stuff. He wore LA Chargers stuff to the Michigan ring ceremony. I'm like, oh, tells me all I need to know is what it is. Micah, Carey, appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the 5. Sup, Brodies. Kirk, what was something common that irritated you as a player and a coach? Did you see those things in the NFL? Keep rocking. Nevada OH.
I
I hated guys that didn't try to be great. Guys that didn't put in the work. Guys that I called them minimalists. Like if you'll talk about one thing I hated, and again, there's a lot of players at Ohio State that hated me because I would be up in their ish because I couldn't stand guys that weren't trying to do all they could to help the team. Guys that were just there to wear the sweatshirt, collect the scholarship check, do the bare minimum in practice, bare minimum in the weight room. Hated them. I mean, again, like I would have been if they would have let me control the roster, I'd have processed half the team every year. And again, there's some guys that they can't do it. Some of the walk-ons, they physically aren't good enough to contribute, but they work really hard. And as long as you worked hard to maximize your potential, I was fine with you. It had nothing to do with your output or whatever. But there were some guys that were scholarship guys, heralded guys, talented guys that were so lazy. They're such minimalists. And they held us hostage from being truly great. There were guys that we needed in 06-07 to step up so we could have some more depth. And they just didn't do it. They didn't want to do it. They just wanted to wear because again, the one thing my high school coach, who was one of the greatest coaches in the history of Ohio high school football, one of the greatest coaches in the history of football, he'd say it's not enough to wear the jersey. We had too many guys that were just happy to wear the jersey at Ohio State. And I hate it. And when Urban, and again, I love Jim Tressel like he's my father. But with Urban, he got rid of those guys quick. He made their lives a living heck. And I loved every minute of it. I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest day of my life. He'd run some of these guys off there, these minimalist guys, and it was the greatest thing ever, you know? But yeah, guys that, and honestly, I hate people that keep it sweet with Michigan people. I hate that, because again, I hate Michigan. I know Nevada always jokes I like JJ McCarthy and I sing the fight song and all that, but it's like I hate Michigan. It's the only way you can operate is you hate them. I don't wear blue. Ask my wife if I have any. I don't own any blue clothing. I haven't worn blue in outside of a pair of blue jeans because I'm not that big of a hillbilly. But I don't wear no blue shirts, no blue shorts, no blue. I don't even let my kids wear blue. And if she puts them in blue, we have a talk because that's how it is. But that's again because we don't keep it sweet around here. I don't mess with Michigan people. I don't like Michigan people. And again, I'm cordial with Yoder. He's a great dude. But outside of him, it's, keep it moving. Because again, I ain't trying to be all sucking face with Michigan fans like some people are. And that's the difference.
That question, what's Yoder saying about all this? What is Yoder saying?
I haven't talked to him yet.
Interesting. Yeah. Because he is like the one rational Michigan guy. And does he look at? I just don't know if he's such a sellout though that he's got to look at this and he's got to go. Oh no, this is nothing.
This is like.
Oh god, because this is so bad. It's so bad.
Hey, but they and again, all the trash talk I heard about Michigan winning this national championship, when they're going to turn it into the Lance Armstrong of college football, is going to be so beautiful, and I'm going to love every second of it because they won't live this down for the rest of my life, and I'm going to live for a long time, so it's going to be great. All right, appreciate you, my man. Jay Gonzo 911, appreciate you. Thanks for the 5. Kirk, why give Harbaugh credit for being a good coach? If his natty is tainted, I question how developed is Michigan's players. Well, here's what I'll say. And again, did he cheat? Yes. But he also took the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl, which is hard to do in the NFL. I thought Michigan got better when he got there. Excuse me. But Ohio State was just way better than they were. That's why like Urban smashed him in 18. And then, if you guys, the thing's funny is like, go back and look at that score from 19. I think 56-27 or something. I mean, Ryan hung it on him that night, and that was in Ann Arbor. But I think that the Chargers will be good this year. I think they'll be better. I think they'll be well coached. I think they'll run the ball. They'll play defense, whatever. And again, he took the 49ers. And again, I was on the 49ers team right before he got there. And it was a team that was kind of stuck in the mud with ultra talented players like Patrick Willis and Crabtree and those guys. And he got there and he got them disciplined and tuned up, and they're pretty good. Like when he first went to Michigan, I really thought it was gonna be Bo and Woody all over again, but Urban just smashed him, and again, Urban was so much better at recruiting and the rest. So again, I think he's a good coach. I think he's going to do good in Los Angeles. But again, the way he cheated, and I think that, as soon as Ward Manuel took half of his salary, I was like, this is as desperat's going to get. And he let all this stuff happen. So again, I'm not trying to walk around it, but if a guy takes a team to the Super Bowl in the National Football League, I think he's a good coach. I mean, the Niners were usually pretty good when he was there until the end when they kind of faded. But his shtick doesn't last for very long. That's the problem with when you're a guy like that. He's good for about 3-4 years, and then it's out the door on to the next. But he also made Stanford good, which again, Stanford before and after him has not been very good. But he made Stanford formidable because he made their offensive line good. I don't know if he recruited Andrew Luck, but he kind of laid the way for David Shaw and what he did. So again, it's just my opinion, but that doesn't exonerate him from the stupidity that he's shown during the cheating scandal. Nevada, any thoughts on that? I give Harbaugh credit for being a good coach. I mean, if you can win at Stanford, I mean, come on, like you got to give a guy a little bit of credit, but that's my opinion. Yeah, that's the hardest job in football, I think.
No, he won at San Diego. He won at Stanford. He won with the 49. I mean, no, that guy has a system, works the system, is honest, honorable to the system in terms of the power running game, using all 4 down. I mean, he does a lot of good things. He's also very weird and he cheated. Both things can be true, but I do think he's a good football coach.
Absolutely. He's weird. He wears the same khakis every day, the same pullover every day. He's a very weird human being. So it is what it is. Pooh Bear, what's up, brother? Appreciate you, my man. Pooh Bear 12. Thanks for being an ultra member. Thank you for the 10. I think lack of institutional control is the wrong terminology. This was 100% controlled. It's intentional cheating and cover up from the players, coaches, up to the University admins. Bet their AD is off the playoff committee. That is a great point because he's like the head of the playoff committee now. I mean, Ward Mano got like an award a couple weeks ago, and he's like the head of the play. I mean, in what you like? Who are these idiots that appoint these guys? Like, do they not see what's going on here? They obviously don't watch our show because again, I was like, I don't know how he has a job like tomorrow morning at this point. But again, that's just me. And again, the flaunting and the stupidity, like coming down the stretch where like the president is saying bet, AD is saying bet. They say, oh, well, they want it fair and square or whatever. I mean, it's totally out of context. I mean, I have no words. Nevada, your thoughts. Pooh Bear thinks lack of institutional control is the wrong terminology. This was 100% controlled. It's intentional cheating and cover up from the players, coaches up to the university admins. Bet their AD is off the playoff committee. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I mean, this is certainly an organized effort and orchestrated by things, but the NCAA recognized that, and that's the beauty of the way that things are coming down is they're recognizing not just the individual punishments and the individual penalties, but the organizational and institutional misdeeds. And those are the big. That's when you get into the big boy parting gifts, man. Now you're past show causes. Now you're past other things. Now you're into the big boy stuff when you start talking about the entire organization. And I think NCAA kind of nailed that. And yeah, that Charlie Baker quote was so out of context. The Charlie Baker quote was actually in the context of he was applauding and lauding the fact that they had gone to the Big Ten and notified them of this so they could enact a punishment during the season, and saying so that way there's a punishment could be done, and that way they wouldn't be questioning what came after that. So he wasn't exonerating what was happening or endorsing Michigan, or he was actually complimenting his own organization and defending their own organization's actions in turning all this information over to the Big Ten, because that's never been done before. That's just the unprecedented nature of what happened. A major penalty coming down, a two times suspension for the same coach in the same year, and the NCAA notifying a conference of an ongoing investigation in the middle of it. It's never happened before. And again, just goes the unprecedented nature of this, and it just shows why the penalties are going to be without precedent as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Brian Leger, or Laguerre, I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize if I butchered it, but I'm trying to do the best I can. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the 10. Honestly, doesn't say anything new. It says there's no evidence the coaches knew anything, and it goes further to say a few interns knew, but that the evidence says they thought it was within the rules. Well, okay. I mean, it's got 5 level 1 violations, so that's something pretty substantial. What else does it say that's new in Nevada? Connor Stalions ran and hit with his hard drives.
No, no, just the whole lack of institutional control. What do you?
No.
This is the classic Michigan fan reading of the thing. It's like you left out the entire story. Like the entire story is lack of institutional control and actively impeded. Level 1 violations. Level 1. That is the most severe. That is the most severe. Also, your head coach just got a level 2 violation for deleting text messages between him and the main perpetrator while he's on probation for already doing it. So he's going to get a show cause. He's going to get fired. There's lots of stuff in here, guys. Man, Michigan fans, you got to stop being delusional, man. Get into reality land.
Some fresh air, maybe. It's like saying, Mrs. Lincoln, other than that moment, how did you enjoy the play? It's like, okay. David Fennell, thanks for the deuce. Historic day for the scoop. Burke post the cardio. I was on that Stairmaster killing it a little bit. But I couldn't wait for 7 today. I mean, I've been excited about doing shows before. Whew, couldn't wait. And part of us wanted to go earlier, but I was like, you know what? Everyone's ready for 7. So we're gonna go at 7. And again, I appreciate you guys for being on here. Adam Kahn, thank you for the 10. I appreciate you, my friend. 21 years of active duty military. Thank you for your service, my friend. Still serving. Been to dozens of intel briefings. What scum did was military level reconnaissance. 20 straight years of beatdown does that to losers. Bet. Nevada OH.
I owe.
Well, Adam, thank you for your service. Again, I appreciate you, and you have a perspective that's different from what we have. And I've actually gotten notes that have said stuff to that degree. Like we've gotten that in our emails because we get a lot of tips from our emails. And Nevada, any thoughts on that? 21 years of active duty military, still serving. Been to dozens of intel briefings. What Scum did was military level reconnaissance. And again, Connor kind of like touted that as a way to kind of shoot up the coaching ladder. It's like, hey, I could do this military level surveillance, and like I mean that was his whole plan. Is again, this guy like wrote a manifesto. This is a weird dude. This is Ted Kaczynski's like little brother almost at this point. What are your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Well, yeah, but first of all, people have to remember this wasn't Patton that we're talking. This is more like Gomer Pyle that was out there doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is the used vacuum cleaner salesman, and while I agree that there were certainly things of military tradecraft in this, I mean, it was basically just recording signals with a phone and splicing it to game tape. And the reason that people don't do it, it's because it's illegal. It's illegal to do, because otherwise everybody would do it. So while I want to, I want to say, wow, he was MacArthur, or, wow, he's, obviously trained up. I mean, this guy was, he was a sad sack, and, he was a supply officer in the military. So he wasn't like he was an intelligence guy. And my dad was 23 years Air Force intelligence. So, I'm very protective of that intelligence moniker, but Stalions was like I said. I mean, he was a goof. He was a weird goof that came up with a way to cheat for a desperate program that was willing to do anything to get off the schneid against Ohio State, and he did, and it made him a star there. It gave him. He got to sit in the chair of cheer during the games, and he was the holiday cheermeister, and all the little Geppettos would salute him, and he could go around and be the king. And I insist that you give me a Central Michigan outfit, and then I will show up at your game. And okay, you're King Geppetto Connor. I'll have it waiting for you outside the thing, sir. And I mean, think about his life. And now it's like, now he's going to go on Netflix and disgrace himself further, which I can't wait to see. I told them all it was legal, and they just all said, "Oh, okay, great, it's all legal." Like nobody believes this, guys. Like, I mean, that may exonerate the low-level staffers that were doing this, because they're not going to hit Joe Hickeyberry, who's on the thing that went and recorded for him because he was stupid. But that doesn't absolve Harbaugh. Harbaugh is responsible for everything that goes on inside the program, and Michigan is responsible for everything that goes on in the program, regardless of knowledge. Now, if they have knowledge, or the question is, did they have knowledge, or should they have not? Should they have noticed the signs, like 30 football players jumping up and down, pointing to the sky, or this Geppetto sitting on our defensive coordinator's shoulder, whispering into his ears during the game, like Varys from Game of Thrones? I mean, come on. Come on. We all knew what was going on. It happened. Yeah, for now, like I said, it's just about how bad it's going to be for Michigan, and I think after today, I think it's going to be worse than I thought.
Totally agree. Jose Alvarez, thanks for the 5, my friend. I hope you're doing great tonight. I bet the same. The cheater up north fans who claim there was no advantage complain about their friends screen watching their play calls on NCAA 25. Well, this would be like, not just if you got to screen watch, but if you had something that literally told you, because there's like bluff mode where you can move the screen around. This would be like if it said, hey, he hit square, or he hit X, or he hit triangle, or whatever, Y, if you guys play on Xbox. That's what this is like. But, again, this was a crazy advantage. Again, you guys that play couch, versus on Madden or whatever, you guys know exactly what this is. Like, when someone's screen watching you and they're like, oh, you're running to the left. Oh, this isn't any fun. That's what it is, except this is in real life, and this is for people's jobs. They're like people got fired because they lost to Michigan. Brett Bielema, again, Nevada and I were talking about last year, Rutgers had these guys on the ropes. 2 years ago, Brett Bielema in Ann Arbor had these guys on the ropes. I mean, they had to kick a last-second field goal to beat Illinois. And again, those guys were cheating the whole time. I mean, these guys could have had multiple losses the last couple of years to teams that would have, it would have been huge feathers in the caps of Brett Bielema at Illinois Schiano at Rutgers if they had to close those games out. But they didn't. And they were up against like an unnatural force of these guys cheating the entire game. So, Nevada Jose Alvarez, he says, I bet the same cheat up North fans who claim there's no advantage complain about their friends screen watching their play calls on NCAA 25. It's probably something that Funky and some of the homies do. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's cheating. Everybody knows it's cheating. The only reason people don't bang on trash cans to let you know whether it's a fastball or a curveball for every pitch is because it's cheating. Not because you came up with some look, I came up with a great strategy now. I can bang on the trash can and nobody will even notice. No, we all hear the trash can being banged on and we know that's a curveball. So hey, you didn't come up with some great new, you didn't find some loophole, you didn't exploit some, missing thing in the system. You just cheated, and now you got caught, and sucks to be you guys.
Totally agree. Maurice Clarinet, thanks for the deuce. Do you think Michigan could get the death penalty? I don't know. I don't think so. I think, like Nevada said earlier, that's been kind of legislated out. But I think what they're going to get hit with is going to be severe, like very severe, like something that's going to take a while to recover from. Again, I worked for Urban Meyer, and when he found out that we got a 1-year bowl ban, you would have thought we got the death penalty by how he reacted and how angry he was. So, and we didn't do anything compared to this. I mean, and this is something that the eyes of the world are going to be watching the NCAA on this one, because this is every athletic director in the country, every coach in the country. You think about the players that lost to these guys, the coaches that lost to these guys, the coaches that were fired after the season. You lose to Michigan, whatever. It's substantial, so it's going to be severe. Nevada, do you think Michigan could get the death penalty?
No, I don't think that's something the NCAA will ever hand out again. But I think this will be the severest penalty since Penn State. I think this will be. I think this is going to be bad because I think that what they did, for in terms of on-field cheating, I think it's the worst cheating scandal in college football history without question. And I know, no emphasis on the word no, that the NCAA views it that way. So I don't know how could they look Kentucky in the eye or Arizona State or any of the other schools where they hand out penalties to go, well, I know I gave you a bowl ban. Now these guys cheated recorded signals for 58 games that are over 3 years, did stuff like that. But I'm only going to give them a stern warning, and Connor Stalions can't come to the Rose Bowl parade for 3 years in a row. Like, that isn't going to be enough, guys. No. All people want is fairness, and the only thing that's fair is for Michigan to pay a deep, deep price for both going backwards and going forward. And the good news is I think the NCAA is queued up and ready to do that.
Totally agree. Henry DiCarlo, thank you for the deuce. Appreciate you. If you have a question, try to toss it in the chat. And the chat is on fire right now. So shout out to our mods, Kim, Akeem, Devin, keeping it clean. I can only imagine the report I'm going to get from Kim when this is over about how many Wolverines you guys smashed tonight. Dylan Glickman, thank you for the 10. Great work, guys. We appreciate that. What a day. Do we think we will ever hear more? This is a great question. Ever hear more about the Stalions Blake Corum LLC, the used vacuum LLC? It's the only thing I haven't heard much on. They keep saying that no players were ineligible. That would be, well, again, Blake Corum acts like he had no idea what was going on. But if Connor Stalions put Blake Corum's name, and it was like RB2 LLC or whatever it was, which is like, it was like, BC2 LLC. Like, if he put Blake Corum's name on an LLC, that's a felony. Like, I can't go out and start a website and put Elon Musk on as my co-owner just because I feel like you can't add someone illegally to an LLC. Again, that's a crime. Haven't heard anything about it. I would bet a large sum of money that Blake Corum was in on it. Connor Stalions, again, who is a slime ball, heard some sort of slick deal where it's like, hey, my friend flips used vacuums from Indonesia on Amazon, and he makes buku dollars. He makes 50 grand a month flipping all these vacuums, and you get them and they're refurbished and you send them back and you get the money. Like, there's all these like hairpin drop shipping schemes on Amazon that people always talk about. I'm like, That's probably what he was trying to do. And he said, if we put your name on it, then, all the Michigan fans will be buying used Dysons from you. And like, and I'd be sitting there, Blake Corum's like, yeah, man, let's do it. Some more cash so I can get some new Gucci tennis shoes or whatever he needs, or I can get some new Cartier glasses because I'm an idiot. But I bet he was in on it. Because Connor Stalions is dumb. He's not that dumb to just put a random player on some LLC that was in like Wyoming or Idaho where it was domiciled. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything on it, but it is fascinating that thing all went, because Blake Corum was like, oh, I had no idea, like lawyered up and nothing to do with it and whatever. But I think he's completely lying, and I think he's a total idiot. It'd be interesting if he'd be ruled ineligible. But again, in the NIL era, that's all murky at this point. But it's not something that is common or kosher for a coach or an intern to try to start a business with an active player. Like, that is something you shouldn't do in a billion years, especially when it could potentially jeopardize your best player's eligibility. So again, he should have been fired for that, let alone everything else. Nevada, your thoughts. Great work, guys. Again, thank you, Dylan. What a day. Do we think we'll ever hear more about Stallions / Corum's LLC? It's the only thing I haven't heard much on. They keep saying no players were ineligible. That would be a nil. Your thoughts on that?
I just haven't heard that ever had got any traction with the NCAA, and that's, as we've been reporting on this, a lot of people asked me about that, and I'd never gotten from my contacts there that for whatever reason that story was particularly interesting to them. I don't know. It was because, like you said, with NIL, who the heck knows what the rules are right now anyway? How provable was that? I think they took the low hanging fruit, and the low hanging fruit on this is just was so easy for them to harvest. I think that one seemed a little far afield, but that's just my personal opinion.
Totally agree. Sonny N, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. You think we win in 2022 against those shooters up north? Our defense was mid at best, even without the signs. I just don't get how they held us to 3 in the second half. Well, again, when they picked all the signs and they went in at halftime and they figured out, well, okay, because again, you have to understand, Ohio State was onto this, so they were changing the signs. So I'm sure, I bet large sum of money that they were picking the signs live in the game. I'm sure that they had somebody somewhere in the stands videoing the signs, and I'm sure that they were figured out, because Ohio State generally has 3 different guys that are doing the signs, and usually one is live and the other 2 are just dummy signaling the whole time. So they figured it out, and then magically, they were able to shut everything down magically after we were trouncing them. And 2020, like, we had CJ Stroud, who's like he's the odds-on favorite to win the NFL MVP this year. We were really good. Even if our defense is mid, when you've got an offense like that, and all of a sudden it gets 3 points in the second half, like, something's got to give. Like, let's just be realistic. Nevada, and again, your thoughts. You think we could have won in 2022 against the cheaters up north? Our defense was mid at best, even without the signs. I just don't know how they held us to 3 in the second half. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you answered your own question. You know how they held us to 3 in the second half. I mean, even with our mid defense, if we score more than 3 in the second half, we win the game. But yeah, they clearly, whether they had just took them a while to dial in the sign stealing, or they did it in real time, because you have to remember about signs. You can't. There's no chance that you have an infinite sign package. You don't have like 6,000 different signs for something. You just change them every play. Like, we've talked about this many times. You've got to communicate this. People have got to be able to get it. The people got to have to see it and understand it. 11 people at once out there on the field. And these aren't all Rhodes Scholars that are on there. And they've got to be able to recognize it instantly in a few seconds, know what the play is, and do it. Because if they don't all on the same page on offense, the play gets completely destroyed. So there's only so many different signs and sign packages that you can use. Invariably, they probably went back to something that they'd used before, or they were breaking it in real time, and did it using the electronic surveillance. I mean, I don't know what happened, but that second half of the game, where they went from they couldn't stop us, we could have scored 50 points in the first half, to also we couldn't do anything in the second half, it's always going to be weird to me. And now we know why. We don't have to guess.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah, exactly. CW, thank you for the 20. Appreciate you, my friend. Could the Big Ten hold Michigan financially accountable for how it may have affected seasonal game or bowl revenues? I'm not sure on that one. Again, they obviously had a windfall winning the national championship, but I mean, there are a lot of teams that would have been in a lot better bowl games if they would have beaten Michigan or if they would have, come close, whatever. Nevada, what are your thoughts? Could the Big Ten hold Michigan financially accountable for how it may have affected seasonal game or bowl revenues? And I'll add, do you think they're going to get a decent fine, right?
I've heard $10 million, which again,
Whew.
the numbers are so big anymore that people's like, so what? It doesn't matter. I mean, $10 million. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like a lot of money to me. Now we'll see if that's what it ends up. But I think the Big Ten absolutely has the right to withhold television money, and the question is, what will they do? I thought your analogy of the flipping double birds that everybody earlier thing is exactly what I mean. They were so defiant about this, at least publicly, like mocking the stuff. Well, that was fun when you're pandering to your audience and doing thing. But now, man, the big boss man's here. They're not happy about how that stuff went down, and I think I think they're going to pay a dear price for that, financially and otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the mafia guy that it's like Sammy the Boar, one of these guys. Like, they get flipped, and it's like, well, you can go to jail for 180 years, or you can go to jail for 6 months. It's like, well, if you cooperate and talk and sing like a canary, it's like, and again, you can say whatever you want, but there's a reason why a lot of these guys in these RICO cases flip and they sing like canaries. Because, like, wow, so I can get out in 600 years, or I can get out in 2 months and go be Mr. Jim Smith and live in Utah and be in the witness protection program and sell relics on the side of the road. Tony Soprano line. But that's kind of where it's at now. Schmidbauer, what's up, brother? Chris Schmidbauer, my boy, a hero of the Woody Hayes, one of the great people that I met while I was in the program, who had a great super chat, and Jim Trussell loves you, my dude. Thank you for the 10. A section in the article said Stalions gave a sheet with an op signal to an intern. Is it possible they were still using his intel the remaining games of the regular season of the Big Ten title game? I think it absolutely is. Because, again, you got to understand, like, these guys, when they had 7 Ohio State games signs taped, like, when they're leading into all these games where they said, Stalions is gone now and whatever, it's like, well, when he's an intern, he's sitting in that room with 8 other interns, and the other coaches knew what was going on. And I'm sure that these interns, again, I've been in that room. When I was a GA, we had, like 7 interns. We all shared one little closet, crappy office room, and we're all in there talking. And I'm sure Connor's in there breaking down film and breaking down these signals. Those guys are all watching him do it, learning from him. And again, I'm sure that, like, there was a thing is like, hey, the jig is up, but you can keep it going. Here's the sheet. Here's the stuff. If you guys want to keep doing it, do it. Because again, like, at this point, like, they're in so deep, it's like, who cares? Like, I mean, it's like we've been caught red-handed. It's like if you're at the last table of the World Series of Poker and you've cheated the entire way, and someone else has to take your place and they know exactly what you're doing to cheat. Like, I mean, you're already smoked, so you might as well try to keep the jig going. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, I mean, because again, those interns all knew. And again, those interns are all trying to make it in coaching. They're all trying to figure out a way to climb the ladder, to curry favor with Jim Harbaugh, to curry favor with Sean Moore, to get retained next year, to potentially become a graduate assistant, which is every intern in every football building, their goal is to become a GA. If they become a GA, you get to go to grad school. Most schools, you have to have your master's degree to coach, in college football. And then you also, then you're on staff and you get to coach. You can be an active coach. Like, interns previous to this recent ruling were not allowed to coach. GAs were allowed to coach. So that was always, hey, if I'm a good enough intern, maybe they'll make me the next GA when whoever moves on. So that one surprised me at all. Nevada, your thoughts? A section in the article said Stalions gave a sheet with an op signal to an intern. Is it possible they were still using the intel the remaining games of the regular season, the Big Ten title game?
I think it's possible. I mean, he certainly gave it to him for a reason. I mean, there wasn't a reason. If it wasn't for the intention for some sort of go forward use, why would he give it to him? So, I think it's reasonable to infer that at least they were attempting to do it. Now, I don't know if there's any outward manifestations of that, like some new Geppetto sitting on the defensive coordinator's ear. I don't think we saw that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were using it in some way, shape, or form. Because again, otherwise, why would he have done it? I thought that certainly was something that stood out in the report.
Totally agree. Wade Harper, what is up, brother? Appreciate you, my man. What a great day. Totally agree. Congrats, Kirk in Nevada. Agree with everything said. Interns, Connor. And again, Wade is a guy who actually has been an intern before. He worked with us at Ohio State, was a great intern for Luke Fickell. So again, you'd be surprised some of the guys that are on this show that super chat and speak on this because they've been in the exact shoes. And again, I wasn't Connor Stalions, but I was in his shoes trying to make my way up the ranks. And again, there's always crazy stuff to do. But again, Wade says, agree with everything said. Interns, Connor, are in the box standing and charting, looking down. Great interview of trust. You are right. He is Woody 2.0. So again, Wade Harper, who was a great intern at Ohio State. He was Luke Fickell's intern at Ohio State. Said interns are standing in the box charting plays. That's what they do. They have a clipboard and they write down, okay, Luke called, tight one buck or whatever the defense was, or calls Alaska Fire or whatever the defense is. He's writing it down. He's writing it down in distance. He's writing the result of the play, right? Because again, they get all this stuff. If Luke wants it on the sideline, he can look at it and look at his calls. If he doesn't want it, he's supposed to go coach, whatever. And then as soon as the game's over, these interns have to go back to the Woody Hayes and they have to go do the input. They got to put in, okay, play 37, tight one buck versus, toss, sweep left, whatever. So again, Wade literally lived this life just like I did. And Wade Harper, who was a great intern, was not in Luke Fickell's ear when he's making play calls versus Michigan at home. That would be the craziest thing. Luke would probably jackknife powerbomb him into the block O. Because again, like you don't mess with these coordinators. These guys that are making $2 million to call plays, like they don't want anything but a clear head as they're making these calls. Because it's like being in the middle of a shooting gallery. It's so crazy. It's so loud. And you got to get the signals in. You got to get the play in. You got to adjust on the fly. So the last thing you want is some intern talking to you. And it's nothing against Wade or any other intern in the history of mankind, but Wade knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I appreciate you, brother. I hope you're doing good. Madamus Prime, the former ZZM. I appreciate you, my dude. I love the name. Had goosebumps seeing two great guests Thursday. Yeah, Trust and Troy were amazing. Those two are forever in the hearts of Buckeye fans. Did you two remember to bet and Nevada OH? Thank you, ZZM. Well, here's the thing about Nevadabuck. He has offered to bet everybody, and nobody took him up on it because they're scared, because they knew what was going down. Nevada, I'll let you speak to that. I mean, how many times have you said, I'm your Huckleberry, like we're in the middle of Tombstone. I'm your Huckleberry. Name the stakes. We got escrow accounts. We'll put the money in it. We'll see what the results are. How many times have you said that?
Well, I mean, if you've been on the show, you know that I've said that a billion times. I've said it on social media. I've said it that, I mean, I'm still saying it to these guys, but at this point, it's kind of like picking the horse races after the races where it's like past posting or whatever it is. I mean, the NOA is out. The no one with a functioning brain is looking at that and thinking it's not going to be something. But Kirk, I hate to do this, but my phone is literally on 1%. You're going to have to carry that. Guys, I apologize from the bottom of my heart, but I was racing around it like a crazy person, and just poor planning on my part. But I apologize, Kirk. You're gonna have to bring her home from here, my buddy.
I got it. All right. Appreciate you, my dog.
You're the best. Yeah,
all right. Matthew Barrett, thank you for the deuce. Joined late, been away. Can you reset the story? Yeah, I mean, basically the notice of allegations came out today, or the draft of it came out today. Pete Thamel leaked it. It is bloody. It is nasty. It is 5 level 1 infractions for Michigan football. The most severe. Level 1 is the most severe. So it's a bad day for Michigan football. I encourage you to read that on ESPN.com. It's not good. It's ugly. And we've been saying, basically, it was everything that we said was going to happen today. So there was a lot of vindication for the old Scoop family today. for Nevadabuck and I, because again, we've been sourced up on this thing for months, and we've been telling you guys what is going to happen. And today the letter came out that said exactly what we've been saying for months. So again, it's been a good day to be a Scoop member. Jeff Rittenhouse, thank you for the 5. Check the archives. Kirk, check the archives. Laugh out loud. I mentioned Alfred moving up north with his eyes on being head coach when he left. Well, you are Nostradamus for predicting that one. But I don't know how long he'll be there. I mean, because again, I think Sharon Moore's going to get cooked. I think he's going to be fired for cause. I'm sure he'll try to fight that. But, when you get this many NCAA infractions, I mean, look at, you have to understand that the people that are parts of these board of trustees are the most spineless human beings in the world. Like, look how Northwestern did Pat Fitzgerald. Like, seriously, he was their Archie Griffin, and they threw him out over allegations because they don't want their reputations ruined. Look at how our board of trustees did Jim Trussell, who's one of the greatest human beings in the world, raised more money than anybody, went to every hospital fundraiser, and most, stoic, kind-hearted man in the world, threw him out like an old turd. You know what? And they're going to do that to Sharon. And again, but Sharon earned it. That's the difference. I don't think Jim Trussell and Pat Fitzgerald did anywhere near what Sharon Moore did. So I think it'll be interesting to see what his livelihood looks like after this. I'm sure if there's one profession where you can always be rehabbed, it's coaching. So I'm sure he'll get another line coaching job somewhere after Michigan cans him, but that'll be the story. Rohan Van Gaal, thanks for the deuce. Hope you're doing well, man. How did the first 4 days of camp go for our guys? Well, it's interesting that the first 4 practices are in the books. They were in pads today. Defense had a really nice showing today. Will Howard is going to be the starting quarterback. That's locked in. Our offense is going to be crazy, though, with Quinshawn and Trey. Explosive runs today. Jaden Ballard had an incredible catch. J.J. Smith is that guy. But the quadrant of J.J. Smith, Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, Carnell Tate, and Emeka Buka is going to be as good of a foursome as we've ever had at Ohio State, top to bottom. And again, I know that we've had some ridiculous crews with Garrett and Chris Olave and JMO and all those guys, but this will be as good as we've had. This will be really good. Chip's offense is incredible. But the defense, this has been a good camp so far because like yesterday, the offense was ahead of the defense. Today, the defense was ahead of the offense. It's kind of what you want. You don't want it to be one-sided where the offense is, it's a track meet every day and the defense can, and you also don't want the defense to be stalemating every day, but there's some guys that are really showing out. Sonny Styles, I think, is going to be the starting will linebacker. I think he's ahead of CJ Hicks. And again, you have to remember, Sonny played last year. So I know he played safety, but he started games last year. CJ did not. So I think you factor that in. And I think that Sonny just has more upside. So I think Sonny's going to be our starting will linebacker. He's been running ahead of CJ. So yeah, it's going to be an incredible run as we're getting the pads on, moving into the hotel. Football's here, folks. So we're excited about it. So I appreciate that. And we have write-ups on all 4 days of practice on BuckeyeScoop.com. The best write-ups in the game, the best intel in the game. So if you guys want to know what's really going on in the Woody Hayes, join BuckeyeScoop.com because we've been killing it with the biggest threads out of any of the sites. So I appreciate you, Rohan. Thank you, my friend. JS, thank you for the 10. Hey, guys, appreciate all you do. Question, once the punishment comes down, how far back do you think it is going to put the Michigan program? Thanks. Well, I think it's going to send back substantially. I think there's going to be scholarship reductions, bowl bans. And again, when there's bowl bans, it really affects your recruiting because these kids want to play in the playoffs. They want to play in bowl games. They want to win national championships. And again, when you do a scholarship reduction, it really stings you from a depth perspective. So again, when Penn State went through what they went through with Paterno and they had the bowl restrictions, they were bad for a bunch of years. On top of the fact that I think that Michigan's going to get an all-new coaching staff. They're going to fire Sharon Moore. They should fire Ward Manuel, who again he's at the focal point of this because this is his operation. Between the Juwan Howard thing and the Jim Harbaugh, Sharon Moore thing, it's total insanity that he hasn't been fired yet. Because I mean, he's as incompetent as I've ever seen. So it'll be really fascinating to see how this plays out. Because again, the way that they thumbed the nose at the NCAA, like I said, if I ran the board of trustees at Michigan, I'd be like, guys, what in the world do you think you were doing when we have all this evidence, all this electronic data that they can find with the forensics, and you guys knew all this, and you guys still said, oh, we didn't do it, we did nothing wrong, when clearly, like, with the evidence that's there, it's like, there's no denying it. It's so bad. It's a bloody knife. It's a smoking gun. right next to the murder scene where someone's been shot to death. I mean, that's what it is. So I think it'll settle back substantially. And I appreciate you, my man. It's going to be an awesome ride going forward. Jason Woolard, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my friend. Is Sharon Moore in the parking lot next year and not even on third base? Ryan is sitting on home base eating ice cream. I mean, you want to talk about being born on third base. I mean, Sharon Moore was a line coach for a couple years, and they started cheating, and then he gets promoted to head coach. Like he's way worse than Ryan, because I mean, they're productive, but I think anyone that coaches their line for Jim Harbaugh is going to be really good. So I don't know how good he is. I think he's born on third base, but he's going to be thrown in. He's going to be thrown out. He's going to be Pete Rose pretty quickly. He's going to be thrown out of baseball. And I think Ryan is going to go on a run, and I cannot wait for the Ohio State Michigan game this year. Oh my God. Because Ryan is going to beat those guys to death, and it'll be absolutely glorious. Chocolate Chip Scoochie, appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the 5. Are they saying Minter wasn't in on it? No way, right? Just from the footage we've watched on here, there's no way he wasn't. Again, this is just a draft of allegations. So this isn't, I mean, I know he got like a level 2 for some recruiting stuff, but it's not the final allegations. I don't know how on earth they could conclude that he wasn't in on it, given where Connor was, what he's saying. He's right in his ear the whole time. I just, again, this is only going to get worse for these guys. I think that he's the biggest offender along with Sharon Moore. I mean, the two coordinators are. So I think he's absolutely in on it. But again, that's just a draft of allegations. And again, there's a reason why all these guys got out of there, because they knew what they were doing. They knew it was illegal, and they couldn't wait to get off to LA as fast as humanly possible. Barb Barrett, I hope you're doing good, my friend. Thank you for the 5. Thanks for being an Ultra member as well. I hope you're having a great night, Barb. The cheaters up north actually lied to recruits and current guys. How is that fair? Don't care. Love the show. We love you too, Barb. We appreciate you being on here every night, along with a lot of our regulars, Karis, Beth, Steely, ZZM, all you guys that are on here. We appreciate you. Obviously, our mods, Kim, Tora, and Ohio 7715, Devin. Appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate you guys that are on here each and every night. Yeah, I mean, they lied to recruits. They lied to current players. But again, I think that the current players, I don't think that they were lied to, because they knew. I mean, again, those guys on that travel squad, they knew why they were pointing to the sky. We broke it down on the show earlier. So I think that they're going to reap what they showed. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a glorious day when this all goes down. Poe Panda, thank you for the 5. I appreciate you, my friend. If the team up north fights in court, will the NCAA be able to subpoena Stalions? That is a great question. I do not know that off the top of my head. I think in general you can. Whether he pleads the 5th or shows up or dodges the subpoena, that's what I don't know. I mean, nobody's seen him since he got fired. Obviously, he's going to do his Netflix special, but I imagine they could subpoena him. I don't know what they're going to get out of him. Again, when he's been so, uncooperative, like, they can subpoena you and they can put you in a deposition or they can put you up on the stand, but you can plead the 5th. I didn't know. I didn't see it. I don't know. I didn't see anything. It's not my hard drive. I didn't buy the tickets. Someone else bought the tickets. I mean, again, in this country, you can plead the 5th over and over again. And, but I don't know what it would serve. If you give someone up there who doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to cooperate, his career in coaching is dead forever. I don't know what you gain from getting him up there, just because he's not going to talk. Now, if you want to cooperate and say, hey, we'll not give you a show cause or whatever, if you want to talk to the NCAA and try to get, again, he's still going to show cause based on what he's done. I don't know. But like I said, I just don't know what's going to happen. And like I said, he's just like Jim Harbaugh. Like, these guys not cooperating. I've been saying it for months. When you thumb your nose at the NCAA, like it was like what USC, when USC got smashed and they took Reggie Bush's Heisman and they, blasted him back into the Stone Age. It was because the athletic director was like locking the doors. He wasn't letting the investigators come in, wasn't letting them have access to things that they needed to see. That's the worst course of action when this happens. Again, Arizona State was like exemplary. cooperative or whatever. I think that was the wording. Again, you guys can look it up with the NCAA, and they still got smashed. Show causes for Antonio Pierce, Herm Edwards, other staff members. I mean, it was a bloodbath. And then Michigan, who did something 10 times worse than Arizona State, who they were like recruiting during COVID and whatever. Michigan absolutely, they affected the outcomes of games. Like literally, they cheated on the field. Like this is Lance Armstrong doping. This is Ben Johnson winning the 100, juiced out of his mind, failing the drug test. Like that's what this is. This affected the outcome of the matches. It destroyed careers, destroyed moments. And again, CJ Stroud will make $1 billion as an NFL quarterback. He'll be fine, but he should be a 2-time Heisman Trophy winner at this point. He beats those Michigan teams. He wins the Heisman twice. Him and Archie, we get the two of them. So his legacy is completely different. And again, like I said, does CJ really care? Probably not. He's probably trying to get ready to go, win an NFL, win a Super Bowl and MVP. But in the moment, like when people bring up CJ, obviously fantastic quarterback, second overall pick, one of the greatest quarterbacks in school history, but never beat Michigan. And even with them cheating, that stings. And even if it's vacated, he doesn't get to enjoy the feeling of beating Michigan post game. I get to do that 4 times. It is the greatest feeling in the world, in the entire world, outside of your kids being born, beating Michigan in a football game. When you're a player and you start and play the whole game and you sell out to do everything you can to win that game and you win it, best feeling in the world. And our guys got denied that because Michigan cheated. So I hope the hammer of God comes down on these guys, and it's going to. So again, I think we can wrap this thing up. This was a marvelous show, a fantastic show. Again, I appreciate all you guys. The chat was absolutely insane. Thank you to all of our regulars that are in here each and every night. Thank you for all that you guys do. Thank you for our moderators. I'm sure that you guys were working hard tonight. So I appreciate you guys. With that being said, I got to get the strap. I had the strap the whole night. My boy Keem knows I stay strapped up. So we got the strap ready to go. Champions, baby. We broke it. We had it first. And of course, we got a super chat. So I appreciate you. David Myers, thank you for the 5. They cheated on the offensive side as well. Yes, they did. Is there any video evidence showing this as well? I can look for that. But I know I'll see if I can find some of that for you, David. I'll look for that tomorrow. See how it goes. ZZM, a.k.a. Madimus Prime, my man. I appreciate you. Thanks for the 5. Thanks for being an Ultra member. Is Michigan the Roose Bolton of college football? I love Game of Thrones references, and it's the finale tonight. They're kind of like the Littlefinger, I think, because they're just so deceitful, but they're going to get murdered at the very end. So they're deceitful, they're liars. So yeah, I think that they're probably closer to Littlefinger. And they think that they're slick. That's the best part, is they're not, they think that, everyone else in the world is the dumbest person in the world. In reality, they run into guys like us in Nevadabuck and there's some sharps in the NCAA. I know everybody thinks they're a bunch of eggheads, but there's some sharp people with some pride, and some of these compliance directors, man, they've got the eye of the world watching right now. And so they're going to get this thing right, and they're going to dig, and they're going to do the report. And that report is going to be bloody and glorious for us Ohio State fans and Buckeye Scoop family members, because this is going to be just amazing to read how deep it was. Because again, we've been projecting it. We've been talking about it. I've been telestrating it. And it's here. I'm really excited about that. So again, if you guys enjoy this content, love you, Scoop family. Thank you for all you guys do. If you enjoy this, please leave us a like on your way out the door. Smash that like button. It helps our show so much. If you guys are new to the channel, please click subscribe. Subscribing to the channel helps us. Again, our content is fresh every day, 7 days a week. We might take a day off, a couple times a month, but generally we're going probably 29, 30 times a month. So we're always on 7 p.m., pretty close to 7 sharp. And again, we appreciate you guys. And if you guys love the live show, click that alert bell. You're going to alert every time we go live, which again is normally at 7 p.m. So shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Shout out how great was today. Put that in the comments. I want to hear it. Again, I appreciate you guys so much. This has been an incredibly good day for BuckeyeScoop.com. Nevadabuck nailed this thing, and we've been rolling the whole way with this thing in the face of some really stupid detractors that didn't think that we had this thing nailed. Because again, our sources are very, very high up in this thing. So it's been fun to give you guys the goods. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. We appreciate you guys so very much. We'll be back tomorrow, and it is going to be another glorious show. And again, if you guys want the best experience for Ohio State football, join BuckeyeScoop.com, because our message board has been absolutely bananas all day. And so some of you guys that love this show and like being on the show and like being in the chat, the message board is like the show 23 hours a day. So it has been absolutely crazy. And our practice reports have just been absolutely stellar. So if you guys want to know what's going on in training camp, join BuckeyeScoop.com. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.